Okay, chat. Let's play some Blitzball. I'm just kidding. Let's do some more alt account here. I've advanced some from the last time you guys saw me. So this is the new player account. It's a brand spanking new account. You can see it's only level 41. I've definitely leveled up a little bit here. In the meantime, things that I've done, I have advanced the Orleans story a little bit. Not too much. We're down in Lyon here. I kind of just used this to spin down AP and to get some of like my missions done here. So it is what it is. Apparently I made a new friend, so I'm good on that front. Somebody accepted me. That's probably what happened. Probably people that had me sitting on their friends list looked through their friends list. Yeah, now I have 10 friends. Let's go. So, purely because of that campaign, you're not going to be as lucky normally if you're a new player starting out. That is unfortunate that I got that lucky. I would have preferred to have not, just to kind of show you guys. Again, I've been going through when I do nodes, if I like the person's account, usually the person I'm selecting, I like their account. But if I like their account, I send them a friend request and they may or may not accept it. It's going to take time in a lot of cases. People aren't usually diligent hawks like patrolling their friends list that often. So it is what it is. But in this case, I lucked out because there's an actual campaign with missions for story completion here that literally require you to have accepted friend requests for the stuff. I do need to apparently complete free quests to complete the pilgrimage festival that's currently going on. So that's something I'm going to go do here. I can just go back to Fiyuki. I get literally quartz and some more evocation leaves. I've already also managed to buy Jerker, at least her first copy there, which is definitely nice. In fact, let's kind of just run into a node here real fast just to get the AP ticking, just to kind of alleviate things, so to speak. I'm still kind of just taking the friend supports that are 200 FP. You could definitely take like an overpowered carry. I'm just confident in my ability to like make it through a lot of the content here. If you're not, that's perfectly fine. There's no issues with that. Just again, my advice, even if you're going to use an overpowered carry, take your time with it some, learn the flow of the game, get a feel for carding, again, brave chaining, mighty chaining, get the 3 of a kind bonuses, figure out how they work, see them in practice, and kind of learn to apply that. Same thing, pay attention to your crit stars, all of that, class bonuses, that sort of thing. So that way you guys learn the game a little bit better. These early singularities are your best time to do it. Game is stupidly easy at this point. There's really not a huge concern. That's why I'm advising you to do it now rather than later on when it gets tough and it starts like the difficulty starts increasing a little bit more and you start going like, oh man, what do I do? I don't know. I've not had to actually do these things. It's usually a better idea to learn the units, learn the game, kind of get everything under control early, establish yourself a good set of fundamentals that you can just kind of succeed a little bit better and deal with more challenging scenarios. Because some of the biggest things I get as a content creator for this game, I get people asking me, how do you form team compositions? How do you basically manage to decide which card to use in which situation? And it's a very fluid type of system. It's very much go with whatever you think is going to work best. And that's one of those things where you will learn over time, but there's not necessarily a like guaranteed solution. We do have a wyvern here. I've got waiver, so I'm going to go ahead and pop the defense buff just to be on the safe side. Probably not a huge concern, but definitely something to watch out for. And Waver's actually strong enough somehow to be able to kill that entirely with one card. I say strong enough somehow. His carding is actually incredibly weak in these scenarios. But he's still stronger than just about everything else I've got. So that's kind of where we're going to go at for this. So I actually have a couple Setheno cards here. We're going to go ahead with the Buster lead here into a Mighty Chain with Setheno, just to get her card dealing some decent damage, but also to kind of set up. There you go. The wyvern is dead. Definitely not a difficult thing there. And all that's just going to leave us is this last zombie. Now, I can obviously Mighty Chain if I want, but I also have a triple Arch Chain. And I can just abuse this for a little bit of extra charge on Waver. It might not matter in the general purpose of things, but I can go ahead and do that in such a way to get a little bit more there in case maybe this were like a challenge fight or something. Maybe I did need this. I'm gonna go ahead and pop Waver's attack up there, just kind of get them a little bit of extra. I'm gonna pop her Charm, but it didn't land on the Wyvern because I think it's male only, yeah. And the Wyvern is not gendered at this point. That skill does get upgraded, but I don't have the upgrade yet. And upgrades are definitely something that you kind of should do as you get access to them. Right now, at the moment, I haven't invested in most of my units, so I don't really have that capability yet, but it'll definitely become a thing in the coming chapters here as we start to level up and kind of work on this stuff. And you can see that's Marie. Marie's actually a very defensive rider. She has an offensive Noble Phantasm, but she is somebody that has 3 times for 5 turns invincible for herself. Makes her really, really tanky. She also has a heal in her kit and stuff, so it's good. Like she's difficult to bring down. She might not be the most offensive rider you use in the game, but she will be a tank and a good challenge unit in a lot of aspects. Okay, we are inching towards that level up. I've been cleverly avoiding it as well. I've also made several blue apples since we last played together because I didn't want to get too far ahead. I wanted to show like, hey, yes, I've made some progress since the last time, but not like anything you can't just pause the video and kind of catch up with me on. I did do some FP rolling as well. And I think the only new characters I got Leonidas and I got, what's his face? Mozart as well. Mozart's again a really good low level one. Let's see for banners here currently. Still nothing like super meta. Let's go ahead and let's roll out our FP, see what we get here. Nothing new, but we did get an additional copy of Arash. Gonna make our Arash stronger. And trust me, you want Arash to be about as strong as possible, so that's going to be good. I can certainly roll for like Medusa Saber again here, but we actually got the 5-star CE out of this. We got really lucky, so to me, the value of that banner's down a little bit. Could roll here, try to get a cheeky like Balbon Sith or Miss Crane, but honestly, not necessarily the best use of my resources. Same thing here. Beyond Joe's a good AoE assassin. Wang Fei, who's just a generic single target 4-star rider. And honestly, Bakin is a pretty decent AoE rider, with Hessian Lobo being a single target Avenger, so a rather rare combination. But honestly, these banners not too solid. We have Anniversary coming up soon for an A. Probably at this point just better to save my courts for something like that. I'm not in dire need of a new unit. I'm honestly in a lot of ways struggling to handle the unit that I currently have and am operating. Like you guys can see my roster here, because I'm going to be getting so many of these new Evocation Festival units. These are the welfares that have existed prior in the game. These are freebies. You can, again, if you get enough leaves, you can get them to NP5. You can get them all the way up to level 80. So an NP5 welfare is a pseudo like 5-star in terms of its quality and capability. And that's really good. And I'm going to be getting a bunch of these for free. So it's honestly to my benefit to make the best use of them right now, rather than to try to like go ham rolling other options that I may or may not need yet. I still have not used my tickets yet because it hasn't become a major concern, and because at least as of right now, the tickets don't get anything for the resources that I currently need for skills. You can see I've gotten a whole bunch more. I do have tickets and things like that. Definitely really good. I will hold off on them, but feel free if you see a banner, you really like the unit design, or you just really think that that unit would be good for your account, go ahead, roll if you have the resources. In general, people will tell you to save all the way up to pity in FGO, but for a new account, this is not that big of a concern because you just lack options. Now, you will, again, get those welfares, but hey, if you're like, man, I really like the look of Medusa Saber here, maybe I'm going to roll for that. you can go for it. But for reference, in order to hit pity in FGO, you need 900 quartz, or the equivalent of it by way of like summoning tickets and stuff. That's kind of rough. It's basically 300 spins because it's 3 quartz per spin. 300 spins in FGO will get you to pity for an SSR. It does not carry over to other banners. It does not like roll in any way, shape, or form. So that's something to be concerned with. But again, like I said, with a newer account, you're not going to really save up to that often. With more veteran accounts that are kind of well established and stuff, it's not hard to save to pity because they just don't roll for new stuff that comes out unless they really, really want it. That's not that bad, especially if you're playing the game, you're logging in every day, you're getting those bonuses, you're bonding up characters, you're getting it through other means. It's actually not that difficult to save up to 900 quartz. But for newer players, it's going to be rough. And so at that point, I'm going to say, go ahead and save, see what you can get. So right now, we're actually all the way up to 84 quartz. That's almost enough for 3 entire multis. We also have 11 tickets right here. That is an entire multi in and of itself. So not doing too bad in terms of resources should another banner come out. Average to roll a unit is about 300 quartz rather than 300 spins. Don't get confused there. It's 900 quartz for the pity. But average to roll a unit is usually about 300 for an SSR. There is a spook rate in the game. It's about 8%. 80% is the rate at which you will get the unit of choice. And the reason that this kind of works this way, and to explain this, your SSR rate is 1% in the game. Of that 1%, 0.8, aka 80% of the 1%, is going to end up being your odds of getting the rate up. 0.2, the remaining 20% of that 1%, would be your odds of getting the random spook, the non-rate up option. So FGO's really got a low SSR rate, but it has a really low spook rate too. Doesn't mean you're not going to get spooked. It will happen throughout the course of your career. I guarantee it. As you're playing this game, spooks happen. They suck unless they're units that you need. And some of the spooks can be good units, but it's just something to pay attention to with regards to the gacha and understand. The reason I'm going to tell you that 300 quartz number is also so that you have a good idea of expectations, so that you don't get like needlessly upset. Because I've seen people be like, oh man, I just rolled 90 quartz and I got nothing. That's actually pretty common. That's why people tell you it's like at least save some, try to like have enough to put in a decent like shot towards a banner. If you don't want to save all the way to pity, that's fine. Just don't be that, you know, stereotypical person that we see all the time that's like, oh man, I rolled very small amounts of quartz and then I'm complaining that I didn't get anything. It's like, yeah, it's not every multi's gonna have something. That is the issue that this game has. The gacha system in FGO has always been a very brutal system, but it's also been a brutally fair system in what it is. And again, unlike maybe some of the other games that you've played, FGO is actually really generous with its quartz. Like I said, last you saw me, I had like no quartz, and already just in a couple of days here, I'm up to 84. It really is something that you can actually get very quickly. There's always campaigns running. There's always missions to do. There's always other ways of getting the quartz. So it's kind of not as bad as most people would have you believe in that regard, but it's also not like the best gacha ever, and it's not going to be the cheapest gacha either in that regard. So just keep that in mind and you'll be good. As long as you have good expectations and try to save for the things that you want, you'll be well set to actually kind of getting those things. So let's go ahead and let's actually run back to the shop over here. Let's see if I have any more evocation leaves in order to get the items that I want. Like I said, I got Jerker here, aka John Alter Berserker. I got her first copy. I've purchased one of her upgrade items. I'm gonna purchase 2 more. We don't have enough to get the final one yet. We need about 40 more leaves. I might get that with a login bonus or something like that. But basically, now we can actually take Jerker all the way up to at least like, level 70 out of that. We don't have the last ascension for 70 to 80, but we can at least take her all the way up to level 70 if we want. Now, what do we have in terms of cards? I already used all the Berserker cards that I have. I could use some of these all cards on her. They work on every class. Generally speaking, if you're going to do this stuff, all cards work the best on extra classes. So not the 7 base classes that you see here. The extra classes are going to be things like Ruler, Avenger, Moon Cancer, Shielder even. That's where the all cards work the best, but you can use all cards on anybody. It's just those extra classes are only going to get the card experience bonus from using an all type of Ember. Whereas normal 7 base classes do at least have a devoted Ember type of their class. And I would highly advise you to sync them up and use them accordingly, because that's what's going to work best for you. So if we were to like come over to the Sabers over here, I can at least kind of come over here to Faber, aka Caesar, and just say, you know what, I'm going to apply these 5-star Saber Embers to him and do this because this is just going to make him stronger. And it will be better than using, say, Archer Embers or Lancer Embers on him, because I will get more of a bonus for using the appropriate Ember type. All Embers give the appropriate bonus for everything, but that's why we tell you, hey, they actually work best on the extra class in that regard. And one of the things that I actually haven't done to date that I probably should do with you guys is I should set a good example, and I should level up MASH with you. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that here. You're going to see me. I'm going to throw some stuff in. Now, I'm at 30 out of 30, but unfortunately, if you kind of, like, you guys saw me, I went into the auto select up here. I have it set to same class, and I have it set to do all rarities of Embers. But this isn't the smartest way to do things necessarily, because this is not a terribly smart thing. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if we come down here and we look at some of my Embers, how much do I actually have the amount by over here? If I remove some of these Embers, you can see I'm still at the cap, which means these were kind of getting wasted. And the reason why is because this all 4-star Ember is giving like 30,000 experience. The silver one's giving about 10,000. The bronze ones are giving way, way less. So what's happening there is a gold is basically getting you to the cap, but it's also got some waste. You're going over it. So I can back that even out the silver Ember. I'm still at the cap, which means that I overshot it by quite a bit. Now, if I back out a gold Ember, I can put other stuff in. So can I get there without it? No. If not, I wouldn't have had to use the gold Ember. So to me, at this point, you can actually see kind of down here in the bottom right, you could actually see the results and like how much it's going to take. A silver there is moving it maybe a little bit more than a third, which means it's actually not that inefficient. But basically, we're not overshooting as much as it looked. It's just the game will automatically kind of load the lower Embers first, just as a means to an end. We're going to go ahead, do this, and use it to get MASH to her level cap. And MASH is a really, really good defensive unit. You can see we don't have the ability to enhance MASH. And the reason why? Not far enough in the story yet to do so. So if you were to come in here and you were to be like, hey, why didn't I have the ability to level MASH? You can't select her. The game literally just won't let you until you advance more. But that's going to be really good. That's going to get MASH set up quite well for me. You can actually, if you want, go ahead and work on MASH's skills. Generally speaking, a good idea. Because again, MASH is going to be really nice if you do end up in a challenge environment. Particularly, you want to get her third skill unlocked as fast as you can, because that skill is a taunt, and taunts are really, really strong in this game. Taunts are going to be what allow you to do things that you maybe wouldn't otherwise normally be able to do, because certain taunt skills in the game allow you to redirect enemy attacks to them, which can take pressure off of some of your units. You can go back in here into Orleans here and kind of advance the plot a little bit more. We're up against riders and assassins, so having Setheno in here is not too bad. Having Marie, not too good. If I really wanted, I could kind of back out and I could take Mozart here instead. He might be a decent option, but I'm just going to go with Marie because Marie's harder to kill and Mozart's kind of a pushover. You won't know that, but I do. So again, we're going to actually bring Nito in. She'll be a little bit susceptible to the rider, but she will be good against the assassins. We're going to go ahead and skip story. Feel free to read it. Like I said, story is absolutely amazing in FGO. I've just already done it all. But yes, there are various ways you can get taunt. You can get taunt from units. You can have a unit put a taunt on another unit, which is rare. That's the scapegoat skill. And then there's even rarer, there are certain craft essences in the game that give taunt. I believe there's only about 4 or 5 of them at the moment, and they have not added to that list in years, so don't expect it to change. But there is one taunt C that you can actually get. You'll have to probably check out one of the later videos for that. I do have a video about it. It's called the Outrage CE. It's a very fantastic craft essence, but you can actually get it pretty cheaply. It's going to cost you 1 rare prism, but it's well worth, and I highly recommend every player get it. All right, so we go ahead and use Nitocris's skill here. Unfortunately, it looks like it's a Rider Major type of node, so we're just going to kind of do an Arch Chain here. We'll probably card this first one out and have maybe Nitocris like Death Proc down one of the waves, because this is all going to be Riders. This could be quite nasty here. I don't have the triple Arch Chain, but I do have the makings of a Mighty. Go ahead, lead with the Nitocris Buster card here. It actually was enough charge to get her all the way up to 100%. Sometimes Buster cards are okay for NP gain, other times they're not. This depends on the unit, depends on the hit counts at play, and it depends on the type of enemy you're hitting even. There's a lot of factors that go into NP gain. I have an entire video explaining that one as well. NP gain and looping explained. Go check it out. But it is a fantastic resource for helping you guys understand that stuff. And it's really a good idea to have a grasp on like refund and how it works in this game, because refund and kind of in general, just the concept of looping is such a dominant thing in FGO for in-game farming. Why not? Setheno NP into the Wyvern. Setheno has a gender-based NP. It can death proc males. Not really gonna work here because again the Wyverns are what they are, but it gave me a Brave Chain, so I was like, whatever, let's do it. Okay, same deal here. We'll actually just hold off on the Nito NP at this point. Now you can see they have the crit damage icon on them, or the crit chance up, sorry. You need to be a little bit careful about that. Obviously, Wyverns are just in general annoying, but crit damage means that they have the, or crit chance means they have the chance to just, you know, increase crit. And I'm running 2 units that are literally the actual weakness for this. So basically this Wyvern could potentially like insta-gib my my Nitocris here or something, and that would be really, really bad. I would not want that to happen. You will get various rewards from doing story. You can see I'm getting chests from doing the node itself. But honestly, over the years, they've vastly expanded the amount of rewards you get for doing story. This is to help incentivize players to get caught up, but also in general to just be a like a good thing, a good incentive for the players to actually participate in the story. Because I do think that there are some players that kind of get like decently far into the story but just never complete it, and that was their way of saying like, hey look, if you do this, you will gain increased rewards, and this would be a good idea for you to do. Heckenborkers, yes. There we go. Didn't kill either of them. Again, they're servants. You don't really expect to. We did get rid of the Berserker, though. That was Lancelot Berserker. Some of you guys may recognize him from Fate Zero, but a little bit expecting to death proc some of the servants in the game is always a losing proposition. There you go. Sanson dies. If you're very close to leveling up, we'll probably level up on our next run. We also got fangs. That's going to be really good for us. Fangs are one of the common mats. There's 3 tiers of materials for ascension mats. There are bronze, silver, and gold, and that is literally their rarity and how often they will appear. We got bronze mats. Bronze mats, while they are the most common, they're also the most used for your stuff. So getting some early fangs is never a bad thing. Oh, I did forget to do the free quest. Let's go and do that. Sorry, sometimes I do get distracted. We'll go ahead and back up. Now, I can do a free quest right there in Orleans, but I think there was already one that I started, and I have to do 2 runs. So, yep, right here. We're just going to do Massive Cavern 2 more times, and that should actually get us the completion bonus for this, which is quartz. All right, so what are we dealing with? So, because this isn't a story node, this is just a free quest. It's a literal farm node if you want to do them. This is going to be how you would potentially, like, farm ascension materials outside of, like, getting them from other sources. So, all the nodes are not created equal. Some are better than others, but you do want to complete every node at least 3 times to get that completion reward. Now, because of that, though, I don't have a story support, so this is just going to be a take a friend. Usually when it's a mixed node like this, it's a good idea to maybe come in and try to look at a berserker or something like that, particularly if you've not got a handle on the way extra classes work, which admittedly I have not really explained to you. We're going to take this really spicy 120 Arjuna and just kind of let him go to town. I'm going to keep my Nitocris in here, let her maybe death proc some stuff, and this should be fun. Now, this guy has a max limit broken kaleidoscope. You can see he actually starts at 100%, 120% charge. 100% is from the MLBK scope. Okay. 20% is from his mana loading append skill. That is basically a skill that every single unit in the game has. So depending on what craft essence you were running, maybe you're running like a 50% CE, that 20% append would then turn his starting charge into 70%, which he has a 30% charge skill. So that would have actually been ideal. I'm actually surprised they put a K-scope on him, all things considered. But that may just be kind of the best scenario that they have. So wouldn't look at too much in the mouth, and again, it just allows him to kind of NP right off the bat if I wanted to. In this case, this early wave is rather weak, so I think it's probably a good idea to just kind of card my way right through it. And you know what? Yeah, we'll just kind of let him take the first Dragon Tooth Warrior here, because he should easily be strong enough as he is. And we'll let Waver combine for the second one. And this is just a pretty easy send it and win it. You can actually click or, tap your screen to move through some of these nodes faster. As you get those in-between screens where it says like battle, like 2 out of 3 or something like that, that's just it loading in. You can actually skip that basically. We're going to go ahead and fire off Nitocris' Noble Phantasm here. Have her easily handle the Dragon Tooth Warriors, and this should make things pretty easy. And she death procced all 3. Let's go. I'm definitely going to have to find a good farm for pages, because pages are something that both Waver and Nitocris need. It's just going to be an issue for the 2 of them. And we have a 25k saber here. I wonder who it is. I just popped all his stuff. There were no stars anyways to soak with the second skill, so I guess that one was redundant. But otherwise, you guys get to see Arjuna Altar in all of his glory. He is going to do work. Vegeta Alter's main gimmick here is he is an AoE Buster Berserker, but such a strong one, it just easily overpowered this. And his, like I said, his main gimmick is actually that he deals increased damage to enemies that have debuffs on them. But his NP applies a debuff at the very beginning of it, so it works. Somehow that didn't level me up. You can see I got my daily missions done. Means I got 30 more of the evocation leaves. Unfortunately, we need 10 more, I think, for the final Jerker upgrade item. And then from there, I can actually just begin to purchase additional copies of Jerker if I want. We got even more quartz fragments. Basically, at 70 of these, I would have 10 more quartz, is the way to think about it. You can go ahead and convert them if you want. I usually don't, just to dissuade me from rolling. But up to you to determine how you want to handle things. Why don't we show off Ibuki? Feels weird seeing Nito that low level. Yeah, what's crazy is she's already like super effective at what she's doing, even at this level. Like watching Nito Crystal like triple death proc is so hilarious to me. So basically, I can just go ahead and pop Ibuki Doji Berserkers. Hit here. She actually has cooldown here. She will refund some off of this. She is an Arts Looping Berserker. She's AoE. And she is a summer unit, as you can tell. So if I had more appropriate art support, she would actually get a whole lot of refund off of this, but I don't. So she only got 49%. That's still enough. This is going to be a 3-turn node for us, likely. Because I can go ahead and pop charge skills. And that would be enough to get Nitocris to fire off an MP, but I want to show you a really quick, interesting interaction here with regards to the NP gauge. Ibuki Doji has 69%. Nice. This is basically 70% for all intents and purposes. The reason why is because while Waver's first skill over here will give 30% charge to a target, that would only equal 99%. There's a little known kind of thing here in FGO that whenever you get 99%, the game will always round you up to 100. There are only 2 exceptions to this. To tell you the 2 that you need to know. The first is if you are at any 99% greater than 100, so 199 or 299, it will not round up. At that point, you got to actually get to those numbers. The reason that matters is for things like overcharge buffs and stuff like that. But for just firing off the Noble Phantasm, this will round up as long as you can get her the requisite charge. The second exception is if you are drained down to 99%, it will not round up. That unfortunately can happen if you're facing, say, ghosts, which sometimes have that as part of their kit. They will drain you. You have to be a little bit careful, but behold, as the 69% rounded up to 100, and now she could just fire off a Noble Phantasm again if she wanted to. She's going to go ahead and send Nito's NP, and hopefully this is enough to get us right through. Yeah, 98% is the one that everyone fears in this game, not 99. All right, she death proc 2 of the 3, and she outright just killed the 3rd one because it's low enough health. Should a new account roll for Saber Medusa? Can if you want. I'm choosing not to. Doesn't mean she's bad. Just that I have my eyes set on different things. The Ibuki's ready to fire off a Noble Phantasm yet again. And again, he is going to easily kill. And somehow, by some miracle, I still have not leveled up. It's just because I went back and did lower level nodes. But you can see we're still just getting tutorial missions rolling in every time we do just about anything. And there we go. We got a quartz for getting the completion. And also, because I have a limited time quest here, I'm going to get 10 more evocation leaves and 2 more quartz. I'm also going to get a crystallized lore. This is the item I mentioned earlier for if you want to take a character's skills to their maximum to rank 10. The final rank as you go from 9 to 10 will always require crystallized lore. This is really going to hamstring you pretty early on in your account, but it actually just gets better over time. They do pretty frequently give them out, but the vast majority of them do come from events. So I highly recommend you do events. Otherwise, you're just not going to get them and you're not going to be able to complete a unit's skills. And that's definitely going to restrict you in some ways, as you really want to get a unit's skills all the way maxed out. Just in general, due to the point of like charge skills and potentially damage steroid type of skills. Charge skills especially, you need them to hit certain increments for them to be perfectly effective. Like for instance, I talked about Arjuna Altar there having 30% charge. Only if you have it at rank 10. And again, combining that with his append of 20%, that's only going to be if you have the append skill at rank 10. So the player having both of that meant that you could have started Arjuna Altar with 50% charge. If the player didn't have these, you would have had to have started him with more somehow to make up for that. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, let's kind of walk back over here to the Da Vinci shop. I'm actually going to go into my mailbox down here and just see if anything from those rewards went direct into it. They didn't, but I already saw the pop-up go by on the top of the screen there. I have 50 of the evocation leaves, which means I can buy Jerker's final ascension items. So now, the only thing holding me back from getting her all the way to the max are embers. And that's just going to be an issue for a little bit for me, but it's definitely something we can do. In fact, why don't we go deal with that right now? Kind of. Problem with Berserker Embers is there's no devoted farm of it. But that's not a permanent problem. Now, you can go do the other free quests if you want for quartz. My advice, focus on story before you like hard focus on that. You're going to get quartz from it, but it's not going to be like a super amount. If you feel the need to, go for it. But to me, getting caught up in time to do events and stuff, usually a little bit more important. As we're kind of looking at this, we're going to go into the Chaldea Gate. I'm going to go over here and look at my daily quest because, again, embers are what I was talking about getting. So currently today we have the caster daily for embers. It's actually perfect since we have several casters. And we're going to run in. We're going to do the extreme version. This is going to be a little bit spicier, but nothing too crazy. Nothing we can't handle. I'm going to take a good rider for something like this. Again, Drake is sort of my ideal. Asmodeus has at least an origin bullet on her, which means increased damage to casters. You will have some, obviously some archers in here, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. They're not going to be the dominant one. That being said, probably not going to keep Faber here in the party. Going to swap him out here for maybe Romulus. And let's see, I'm also probably going to change out Sathino for Kentucky Rider. I'm going to put him in and let him do work. So now I'm going to have 2 riders in here, which means bare minimum I should be able to like card my way through things should I have to. And if I really want to, I could switch off this Mysticode. I've been using the Mages Association here for the extra 20% charge. But honestly, I'm pretty confident this will work regardless of what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to switch back to my OG Mysticode because it's easier to level and I will get a little bit more bang for my buck on that. And you can see I'm kind of just triaging. I'm hopping from thing to thing, kind of never overly focusing on one thing, trying to just advance the account all around in every way, shape, and form that I can. And that's just a lot of how FGO is going to work. I'm going to focus primarily on the caster first here. Drake always doing solid carding damage. I've got literally triple buster here, and I'm going to take advantage of that. Triple buster's your highest damage chain. And there you go. I used that to get rid of a pesky archer, and now we only have the one. I have 2 turns to kill before it noble phantasms. That's not ideal, but should be able to make it work. There we go. We get a lucky crit there. And we actually have a mighty chain here. I could definitely abuse that, and I actually think I will, because I'm pretty confident my level 54 here can still take this down. And there you go. He gets full charge off of that, which should make this a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and pop Waver's attack up skill. I'm going to give her her middle skill here, which has been upgraded to give her the Buster Up version. And I'm going to go ahead and fire off her NP. I'm not going to use her first skill because we're going to save that for Kentucky on the following turn. Yep. So she unfortunately left one of the archers alive. That was just unluck of the draw. I got 2 archers in 2 of the early waves. That's really just bad luck. Especially if you're hoping for more like casters to be in here. We also didn't really get much in the way of berserkers because of that. We pop the NP damage up there. And actually, she's close enough to get back to her NP again. The voice lines are kind of covering it, but to be able to do some work. Let's see if we can get Kentucky to kill outright. This will kill regardless, this combination, but I want to see how much I can get Kentucky to do here. Not too shabby, actually. Not going to kill, but this will. And she still has the 3-turn Buster Up. This is the last turn that it's available. So that definitely helped out her Buster NP. And you can see she's at 128, so she could have killed that pretty much on her own. And there you go. That levels me up. Which also means I can do this again. Sometimes doing the Extreme Ember Gatherings is a recipe to very quickly level your account. So it's something to be aware of. Manage your AP. You can make blue apples if you need to, if you don't want it to rot. But unfortunately, the more I do this, the more my account is going to level. You can see it kind of jump pretty heftily into the next level there. Same deal. Let's see who we can take. I got Asmodeus again. This is just a match made in heaven for this particular node. But getting these embers will just help make my units stronger. It's really funny. I did a sort of a challenge when I started out my JP account originally. I started at kind of the middle part of year 2 on JP. Sorry, year 3 on JP. And that ended up basically being a weird time where I had to kind of bum rush the story in an effort to get things unlocked so that I could get a particular like craft essence on my JP account, because there are anniversary craft essences that they give out all the time. And that particular year had one that I was like, ooh, I really like that, but I had to get all the way through all of part 1 done and go into the Epic of Remnants, which were like the in-between chapters, and I had to do all of Shimosa, and the highest level character I had at the time was a level 40. And it did not go well, but it worked. That being said, we're not trying to make this a challenge run for you guys. I'm literally just going to like power grind some of these units for you and kind of showcase how you guys can do that so you can get ahead of the story and not have to do things like I did. All right, same deal here. Gonna pop the NP gain up. And this is an interesting one. I know she's probably unlikely to kill the archer again, but actually, let's go ahead and do the attack up from waiver just to make sure of that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put her arts card second because her card might kill, or whoever's card that you put there might kill. I'm also going to turn it into a mighty chain. But the idea here is I don't want to risk somebody else killing. I want her to get any potential NP gain off the back of this that's possible, because Buster doesn't give any NP gain, but her arts card will. There you go. She did get some. Actually, it looks like Kentucky would have been potentially safe, but he did crit there. The Drake doesn't get nearly as much here. Oops. But still something we can do. We can go ahead and pop all of that. And I could go with his quick card, but we're actually going to pre-card with a Drake Buster card and then post-card with it so that it gets the Buster bonus. You can see just her Buster crits alone are enough to really chunk that enemy. So this Kentucky NP should kill, and we should be well on our way to having a couple of solid embers now added to the account. Hello, Avila. Oh, it was, Agent. And keep in mind, that was not everything at level 40. That was like one unit at level 40. All right, so we leveled up again. So I can just keep doing this ad infinitum if I want. Obviously, I don't want to. We'll do it like maybe one more time here, just give me a good chunk of embers. But doing this infinitely is boring for chat and you guys. So I'm not gonna like make you guys constantly like watch me do this. Let's do that. And let's actually try sending her early here and seeing if we can get kind of a different result with things. She's definitely not going to kill the left archer. Basically, because this wave has 2 archer hands in it, I'm going to abuse it and get the NP off here. And the next wave might as well, but we're hoping that it doesn't. And it doesn't. It has 3. That's even worse somehow. What the heck, game? It is definitely trying to disprove my point that this is a caster major node. We're going to go ahead and pop the defense skill here, as it's going to kind of be necessary. I'm actually going to do her arts card. I'm not going to get back to an NP really quickly here. I'm just going to stagger the cards here in case of crits. Oh, man. Intoki weight roomed me. Okay, so this is definitely going to be spicy because I have 2 turns to kill 2 really, really powerful hands at this point that are neutral to me. Don't get the Buster crit. That is unfortunate, and therefore I do not kill that. So one of these is going to get its NP off on me, potentially. Well, there's an outward shot if I got both Kentucky crits, but I don't even think that's going to be enough. So one of the things I can do here is I can heal Drake up to make it less likely that she actually gets killed. And I can dodge on Kentucky. Waver's already kind of expended his usefulness, so I don't even really care. And I can get rid of one of these for sure. So this is just really bad RNG in a node. It happens. You know how to handle it. It's not a huge deal. There you go. It actually was stupid. It went for Kentucky. It didn't do crap to him. So it'd be what it be. definitely getting some hiccuping here. Not sure why. And I'm actually going to take the quick chain here. Should give me crit stars for the follow-up turn. Unfortunately, we lose Waver's attack buff. This is not going to be super ideal. But I do have Drake ready for her NP again. So we can combine this. Why not? Go for the Mighty Chain. Pity this account with one Blue Rider gem? I mean, it can. Honestly, training grounds are not bad. Having going back to them, like I almost never touch training grounds now as a like veteran of the game, but going back to them, they're really not that bad. The big problem is just gems early on for your account for skills are kind of annoying. Obviously, materials are going to be a little bit more annoying long term, but in the short term, gems are kind of bad, and they're not often given to you via certain quests and stuff, so it becomes a little bit of an issue. Now, I'm not quite at cap there. We'll go ahead and we'll power on through this. Basically, I'm backing out of the node here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go and use some of those embers now. Make my account a little bit stronger. Should make things easier on me, too. We had filtered the shielder. We're going to unapply that. Now, I could go ahead and I could use these embers on Waver. Waver is a support caster. He's not really going to be doing a whole lot of offense for us. Obviously, carding is the thing right now for me. I'm going to be putting this on Nitocris. Nitocris is going to be the actual caster that we're going to be using. That's where it's going to work out really well. And you can see, again, I just kind of made do here, but let's actually back some of this out and see if we can get a, you know, super success proc. Didn't get it. Come back in. Yeah, whatever. Let's do 3. Then if it does proc, we'll just get full. Didn't. I can fish again. At this point, this is saving me 1 ember if it does proc. And it doesn't. So you can see, I need 66k experience to level up. This is 97k. Honestly, not that useful. This is going to be one of those scenarios where I'm just going to kind of come down here and we're going to use some of these like all embers. And then I may use some of these like garbage embers to see if I can finish things off. They're not the same class. It's not technically appropriate to do that, but I have several of them. They're not really high value, and this is going to save me from using a much higher value ember. Unfortunately, this does actually scale the QP cost as if I were using high level embers. It's just the unfortunate way that leveling in this game works with regards to QP costs, but better to do things this way than to waste the ember, because QP, I can always get more of it. And now we run into a problem. I can't ascend Nitocris because I don't have forbidden pages. So like I said, we're going to have to find a farm of that, but things like that are going to stop you. But the good news is that means I now know, whoops, not craft essence. I don't want to go in here. The good news is I now know Nitocris is kind of like as taken care of as she can be until I free her up, which means I can focus my attention elsewhere. Particularly if you look, I actually have a ton of archer embers. Now, you're going to want some good archers online in your account. I can put a lot of this into a rash right now if I so choose. It's actually not the world's worst idea because a rash is a very, very useful farmer. Or I can choose to level up one of the archers that I have. I'm going to put it in a rash because I know a rash is just always a good investment no matter what I do. But I am going to be looking to see, is there a point at which maybe like there's some value here? Like, I'm going to keep getting FP over time. I'm going to keep rolling out that FP to get more archers from that. The question will be, is that going to like give me an answer? Is like one of those archers going to immediately become my go-to solution? That's what I'm going to be waiting to see. Arash, I know he's good. I don't have to worry about him. He's just always a solid choice. But he's not a single target. He's a farming unit who kills himself. He's not a challenge unit or a boss fighting unit. That's something you guys need to keep in mind, because archers are kind of some of the key like sticking points at certain points in the game. You're going to encounter some really annoying ones in the 6th Singularity, and even one in the 2nd Lost Belt. That's going to really kind of put some pressure on you. So getting them worked on, probably a good idea. Let's actually go and combine my copies of Arash so that I don't lose sight of the big picture here. Make him a little bit better, make him worth. And we're going to try to ascend Arash as much as I can at the moment. Let's back out 2 of those. This is going to take me all the way to 26, so if we get a proc here, it's just going to go all the way. But it's getting me closer. It's making it a little bit more clear as to... Yeah, look at that. One of these takes me all the way halfway through 29. So using another would have been kind of overkill. The same deal here. It's only 24k experience to level up. Only giving me 3.6. That's giving me basically 100k. So, not a good idea. Probably just kind of running one of these is probably a better idea. I could try to do like multiple silver embers. At that point, I just use like one entire 4-star gold ember there. All right, now I'm capped on a different mat. So you can see very quickly here, now I'm already reaching a point where like embers aren't going to help me as much. I am just kind of getting stuck on my ascension requirements. And what I'm getting stuck on is not the statues. What I'm getting stuck on are the actual materials. I will get those via story, but it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to kind of get done. Same deal here. I'm going to dump all of my Lancer embers that I've managed to acquire. Some of these I think are just through story and stuff. It's enough to at least get Roma leveled up a little bit more. I have Rider embers, so we can dump that into Kentucky. And then let's see here. Caster embers. I could choose to save them for Nitocris or use them on Waver. I think I'll sit on them for right now because there's not a whole lot of value in adding to Waver. And then I have 3 Berserker embers for Berserker. And this would get her up to 47. Go ahead and send it all. If it procs, it procs. It doesn't. But this is making her a little bit beefier. And with a Berserker, they're kind of glass cannons. They deal more damage to people. They also take more damage from people. You really want to kind of get them as healthy as you can. Otherwise, you're going to be running the risk of them dying, potentially. So, okay. We have gotten that handled. Let's go run more story here, as the goal will be to complete Orleans. You can see I got even more stuff. Basically just tutorials from leveling. So this one is a Berserker. Extra classes like Rulers take way less damage from just about every single class, but one of those exceptions is Berserkers, so it's probably not a great idea. So again, taking Marie here, probably the smarter solution. I will go ahead and throw Nitocris in just for right now. And I have a solid guess at what I'm fighting. Yeah, go for it, Jade. I don't mind. And it is indeed Lancelot. Gonna go ahead, charge Nitocris to full. And kind of just pop everything here. So he's actually charmed already. I will pop the death up, but the odds of me actually landing it, very slim. We're gonna focus a little bit more on damage here. And I'm actually going to give her the Mighty Chain. Let Marie's cards here kind of get her some charge. Again, the death missed there. But we still dealt about 22k to him, and he's charmed, so he's not going to get to do anything this turn. Charm is functionally a stun. It's just one turn duration in most cases, but there can be others. Let's use that, and I'm going to abuse Waver here just due to his level. Should have the highest attack power. And he does. Gets a nice lucky crit there, but honestly, he would have killed either way. Sometimes you just go with the cards that you know are going to work best regardless of crits, especially if you don't have good crit percentages. Hard battle? Yeah, really hard. It's almost like when you start the game out, well, you don't have to worry too much about this stuff. But admittedly, these early singularities are very, very easy. The hardest battle is going to come towards the end of this one. Alright, we advance on to the Abandoned Fort. I do find it funny, we're not getting any, like, actual, like, 0 AP story chapters. This is just the way the early game was. It was, the quote-unquote suddenly wyverns meme. Siege of Yggdrasil, the ultimate account locker. Yeah, they're pretty bad, if I remember correctly, until you get to, like, Okiatos. The 1 out of 3 node, I don't really have anybody effective here, so that's the unfortunate nature. I'm taking a FP unit, and basically, I guess to a degree I could rotate them into the back, because the units now are like level 18, and a lot of my units are stronger than that. So, wouldn't be the world's worst idea to run something else. Probably something I should have done in hindsight. Could have thrown Faber in here and let that man work. Did I like it better that way? I don't really particularly care either way. I don't think it's a big deal. I think all it would result in is people getting, like, story done up to a point and then sitting on it. So probably not the smartest idea. Actually going to abuse that for just a little bit of charge. I don't really have to NP here. I just am. Because I have 2 NPs already ready. Somehow she didn't kill the other one. God, level 18 Marie. Somehow you disappoint me. Marie buff Winsatch. I mean, this is base Marie without even her 3rd skill, so it is what it is. Okay, we're going to pop the death chance up. These are all bronze enemies. There is a decent chance that Nito does some work here. See how much she can pump out. Alright, 2 of them death procced, and the last one died to damage. Feels good, man. Yeah, that dealt about 12k to that one enemy, which is neutral. That meant she would have dealt about 36k there total if the death procs hadn't come into play. Let's play stage into the main screen. That'd be nice. Somehow Marie managed to disappoint even in Orleans. It happens. Like I said, it's my fault for taking her in. And looks like we actually have just the amount to do another FP pull. Actually, 2 more FP pulls, so go ahead, let's roll it out, let's see what we get. Alright, got something new here. It is a servant Feels good, man. Assassin. Sanson. Sanson's kind of a weird unit. He's so close to being like really, really solid, but instead he's just kind of underwhelming. And it has a lot to do with the fact that he's anti-human trait instead of anti-man attribute. If he was anti-man attribute, he'd be a lot better. Well, actually, I think he has both. I think they're both combined in his kit. They're just... He's not very, like, good in terms of survivability or damage output either way. Oh, let me skip all of this. I did get Regent, actually. Another assassin. Charlotte, yeah. Charlotte's actually the better option out of the two of them. But man, game's giving me a whole lot of assassins, which is kind of funny because back in the day, there were not a lot of low-level assassins, really. In fact, the only assassins were low-level assassins. That's all I can summon for now. Looks like we got Bartholomew Roberts, but I think we had gotten him before. Ooh, and you didn't see it, but I did. There is a very, very pesky one, and I actually forgot. We got a starting charge C at the end of last stream as well. But this right here is an amazing pull. If you're unfamiliar with what this is Dragon's Meridian. This is a 30% starting charge C. It is 50% when you MLB it and get all 4 copies. So it's a really, really good budget C. It only costs 5 party cost, which compared to like, you know, 5-star Cs and stuff, it's actually really nice. So if you know you're going to be using something a lot, I recommend clicking the multi-select, turning it on, and then for a lot of people, if you set up your sorting and stuff right, you can see you've got like smart sort and things. You can get it to just sort right to the top, and then boom, it should appear kind of at the top for you every single time you come into your lists of things. And actually, we did also get the 4-star CE here. This one also really, really nice. And I've totally forgotten to use it. This could have sped us up quite a bit. Take the Meridian roll. Take the Meridian out of the roll pool? No. No. Dragon's Meridian is way too strong. And way too necessary. It took me, I think it was 8 months before I had an MLB of it on JP after I started playing. I was like shocked at just how bad that was. Like how long that took. Okay, we can actually do Mozart here. It's not a huge problem. And one of the things I'm going to probably do is I'm going to slot in that Dragon Meridian because while I'm going to get a little bit less damage out of this, I'm going to actually end up getting starting charge, which is going to let me get to an NP faster. This is an assassin though, so we're going to remove Kentoki from the party, and we're actually going to bring in John Alter Berserker and let her kind of do some work. And actually what I'll give John Alter here is I am going to give her the starting charge CE. We don't have her 3rd skill unlocked, which is unfortunate. Her 3rd skill is a guaranteed 20% charge. Does not have to have the skill leveled at all for that. So that combined with this 60% C would put her at 80% pretty quickly at that point. So this is actually a pretty decent lineup. Just let this roll and we'll see how this one works. So again, Nidacris does that. She's basically already at full just from that one. I'm not going to bother though, because why would I? This first wave is really easy. Gonna let Waver get some free charge here. And this is abusing overkill. So I did an entire Brave Chain into an enemy that I knew would kill, and literally his 2nd, 3rd, and extra attacks all got overkill off of that. So you can see he got pretty decent refund because of it. Arson Dax, thank you for the follow. We're going to go ahead and fire off Nito Chris's NP here, but I admittedly will probably not have enough to NP her again on the next turn. That just may be something I have to deal with. Not too worried about it. It's more of a, like, use it or waste NP charge trying to, like, kill these guys. So I just figured let's go ahead, use it early, and we get at least have charge to get her back to 50%. And there you go. It's not going to be a huge deal. I could go ahead and pop his arts up. I could have popped it last turn too. It's just a 1-turn arts up, which is one of the things I wish was better about him. But he is a 1-star support, so you don't really expect too much out of that. We do have Nito Chris cards here. I'm going to actually boost them. And we're going to try to, like, crit/kill right here. Actually, I could have popped Mozart's arts up and it would have guaranteed it probably because of the waiver arts. But either way, still worked. So nice simple 4-turn of an easy node. And you can see now I'm getting stuff for putting a Berserker in the back line as well. Can you clear early singularities in like an hour? Probably. The hard part is waiting on all the actual like loading that happens. And I am choosing to abuse this for some early easy FP. Hey, there you go. 2 seeds of Yggdrasil. If only it was 3. Alright, so we're now in Theirs. We're getting close to the end of this singularity. You can see Mozart's the only one I can appropriately take at this point in time. We have the entire Knight Triangle. I am going to switch Jerker in. And we are going to let her do some work, since she should be effective against all of these units. Thing to watch out for with Jerker is she's rather squishy, and her first skill is a little bit deceiving. It gives dodge per turn. So basically, each turn she will have a 1-time dodge over like 3 turns. So we're going to go ahead and pop it here early. Gives her NP gain up as well. I'm going to stagger the cards, since we're not going to kill here early. I think being protected with taunts and hard survival skills, you're not wrong. Hard to use my computer, yeah. Alright, so now we actually got some Jerker cards. Really up to you to determine how you want to handle something like this. I'm just going to kind of like stagger here. Let her get a little bit of charge there, and Waver actually crit. Was kind of hoping he wouldn't so I can get even more charge off of her Buster card, but it's fine. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead, pop Nito Chris's charge skill, and we're just going to fire off the NP because I am ready to do a Jerker NP should the situation arise. You can see a lot of how I'm kind of structuring things. I usually want to, like, if I know I can't 3-turn the node, I want to card through the early node because it's easy, and then handle subsequent nodes with a Noble Phantasm if possible. And there may be 3 enemies on this wave, so I have no idea if this is going to be an easy one. There are. We're going to switch to the high health enemy. I'm going to kind of pop some of my buffs here. And let's see. The Jerker should easily kill that, so we're actually going to go, well, we're actually going to go with Nito Chris here. I want to see if maybe, well, I could potentially stagger, but I don't think she's got the actual firepower to do this, so we'll just send it. This will end up taking 2 turns to clear this node, or this wave. Velton, thank you for the follow-up. Welcome. Any chance for another Good or Poster Girl banner? Any chance that is gone? No, I mean, there's always a chance they run it again. I don't think anything's ever permanently gone in this game. Oh, she crit. Of course she did. So maybe I could have gotten it done. Maybe, but doubtful. Show off a little bit more of the Jerker cards here. Got that finger gun. Really good damage. It was a shame I didn't get any of her cards that turn. It would have easily made it capable to card right through. Even with single targets, sometimes you can play with the cards enough to switch targets to actually clear an entire AoE wave. But now with Jerker, I should have, between her and Nitocris, two really, really effective units at kind of clearing content. So this makes it a little bit easier on me as a result. And I could just keep taking the story support and throwing them in the back line and not worrying too much about it. In fact, we'll go ahead and move Roma up just in case something happens here. Only thing to worry about here is the Riders, which is probably a Wyvern again. And of course, Wyverns immediately. So we're going to dodge, and I don't have any cards here. So basically, I'm going to death proc these, and I'm going to pray to God there aren't more Wyverns on the next wave. For this account, I don't know. It'll depend. It'll depend on what banners we kind of get popping up here. I'd have to look. I'm actually like, because a newer player's not going to be able to like kind of look at the banners and anticipate. You can see them actually. They're on fandom if you know where to look, but it can be somewhat difficult because again, we have the NA server and the JP server, and the NA server is 2 years behind the JP server, so that can cause a little bit of confusion. There you go. And this is just going to be a Buster card through of the wave. This is the power of Triple Buster sometimes being able to do this stuff. But yeah, it's like a new player's not going to be able to, so it's like I feel like if I overly plan the roles for this account, it's not doing anybody any services at that point. Okay, I'm not going to be able to complete this one, but we at least have a Jerker card here. I'm just going to do Waver, but it's Waver into a Rider, so this is not going to go well. But yeah, this account hasn't done any spending. It hasn't even done the start dash GSSR that the game gives you, so this is basically bare minimal like capability of what an account can have. But the only thing I did is I did take Waver with my SSR selector, which definitely helps things out. I'll just stagger the cards. It's not going to matter. There you go. She easily handles it and kills. How do I... The thing is hitching so much. Minimum increased by quite a bit. Yep. Gonna take him and go right through again. Probably even more Wyverns, but you can see like having the Berserker in definitely makes this stuff easier. The BBAQ, oh god. Let's see, we've got low health, mid health. So I'm going to start at the end. I'm going to do a Jerker Quick card, a Waver Buster card, and a Jerker Arts card. Why? Because then Waver's going to have enough damage to handle that card. He actually would have had enough to handle the high one, but I wasn't sure. And so I played that as safe as possible. Ooh, spicy turn. Alright, let's see if Nito can death proc these. I'm actually going to pre-card here. So we got the Jerker Buster card. God dang. Girl already doing 10k. I ain't even leveled her up that much. Oh yeah, I'd definitely probably aim for that. And now we get to see the Jerker NP again, and this will kill. So this was a nice, easy 3-turn, despite the fact that I took casters to a rider node. Sometimes you get good card RNG, sometimes you don't. Just is what it is. You play through it. And there we go. Nice and simple. It's taken its sweet time to load. Now we actually have a potential to take sabers here if I wanted. We also don't have a story support specifically for this fight. So at this point, yeah, I run in with a saber and we laugh at this. I'm going to take Pingen here. Take his Artoria. Run that into my front line. And just kind of laugh at this node. Ah, it's just 1 out of 1, so this is even easier. So we're just gonna charge Saber here up to full. And fire off Artoria's NP, and this is just gonna take this one home. Nice, easy, 1-turnable node. Probably meant to be a little bit more challenging than the game thought it was. Would have been even funnier if I took someone that was anti-dragon. Given that was Kyo and Liz. Ooh, spicy. Do I have a story support? Yes, unfortunate. Would have loved to have taken just an AoE Berserker and slobber knocked this entire node. Shouldn't be too hard though. Again, problem is going to be those probable Rider Wyverns. Unless it's Georgios that I'm fighting. He was more scary in the tower event. Okay. And deal here, we're going to pop her NP gain / dodge skill early. We actually get 4-of-a-kind cards for her. Kind of wild now that I think about it, but actually going to start out with the quick card, and we're going to mighty chain this for some easy NP gain. $4.1k waiver, come on, man. You're an SSR. Alrighty, and then what do we get this turn? This one could be a little bit spicy again. Let's actually pop the attack up. We got a good chance of just hard clearing this. We'll let Jerker take the middle one. Waver does 8k there to the early one. She easily handles the middle one. And Nidocris manages to do enough, so this is just an easy carding. Yeah, I almost feel bad. Almost. This is a send it and forget it. Set it and forget it. And she actually death proc the danger enemy there. So it's the zombie that lives and gets NP'd. That's kind of funny. Kind of overkill. Getting more QP, definitely always nice to get that. I'm not in any danger of capping out. If you're ever curious what the QP cap is, it's currently 2 billion QP on NA, and JP actually just expanded that cap to 10 billion. So in 2 years from the time of this recording, there will be 10 billion. And we got more seeds of Yggdrasil, so now at least with that, I can kind of run back over here. And we can ascend. Awaken, awaken, awaken. As Arash is now up to 30. Get a pure prism for that. Oh man, that's so close. I'll probably get that. Go back to servant enhancement, see if I have anything. That is way too much. Pull out those 3. Let it kind of go. Throw in 1, see if it procs. Doesn't. Throw in another, see if it procs. And what do we got? I don't have any lesser rarity ones, so we can throw in just 1. 32 when I need 26, that's pretty good. Not gonna mess around with doing lower level ones. That gets him to that. I don't have enough to ascend him, but the second I get another one, I can get him through 50, and that should unlock Arash's 3rd skill. A very, very valuable skill. It is his 30% charge skill. And it's really the only skill that you actually need on him most of the time. Sumanai for the backline. We're gonna take Georgios just in case there's a taunt that is necessary, but honestly, I doubt it. I get the strange feeling this is just a single rider boss. Watch as suddenly Wyverns is the case. God damn it, it's Wyverns. Of course it is. I guessed wrong. You can definitely follow guides if you want. It can help you out in circumstances like this, but I'm not. I'm going in blind, because most of you guys will be blind as well. But it's fine. You can make your life just a little bit easier if you do look things up. But where it will matter is in later singularities with, shall we say, more robust enemies. Jerker's still putting in work here. You can see Waver's just basically health checking this thing. Jerker get a bunch of free charge. There you go. As long as she's got that NP gain buff up. Remember to erase Arash much earlier than my original account. Such a good decision. He can't be your like sole archer is the biggest issue. Arash is such a good unit, but if your sole archer kills himself, you're gonna have some problems. I'm actually gonna put her card in the middle of that, just because if something lives, I don't want to have to NP unless I have to. Normally you want to put NPs in a sequence, but every once in a blue moon, I'll just put a card in between if I like think there's a good shot. Now this did not work out for me, so we're definitely NPing here. Man, she did not death proc anything there. For Jalter is competitive to Morgan, and Morgan is AoE. But I mean, in terms of like capabilities, generally we compare single targets with single targets, AoEs with AoEs. Usually your welfares, they're almost all good. There's a handful of them that I don't think are really worth the investment, especially for an early account, but Jerker is one of the best, especially in the ones that are available to NA at the current moment. There will be ones that are available later that will be kind of even better, but a little bit. That's kind of in the eye of the beholder, and Jerker, as far as Berserkers goes, is really, really solid. Getting free statues here. Complete the first singularity, and I have 13 days left to do it. We could definitely do it in that time, because I think we basically, I think when we complete Theirs, we unlock this, and I think we just go right up here and there, and like this is the end. So we are going to end it here for tonight, though. We did not get done with Orleans, but we will continue this, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. We explained Gacha mechanics to you at least a little bit. We talked about leveling and ascending, kind of what I look for in things like that. We rolled a couple of new units, and let me think. Is there anything else? I did talk a little bit about pins and skills and all of that. But again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all the support as always. Don't forget, join the Discord. We got the new tag over there. And feel free to subscribe and, you know, follow on any of the channels that I'm streaming on. Go ahead and click the button, and I'll see you guys for the next one. I keep doing it that way just, you know, because I'm sure this will get turned into a video at some point.